Is Arte Moreno quiet quitting? Let's look at the circumstances and speculate wildly. This is Quick Hits on Locked On Angels. Hey everybody, I'm John Frisch. I'm one half of the Super Halo Bros and Locked On Angels, and this is Quick Hits, where we're having quick conversations and hitting on specific topics between our full episodes of Locked On Angels. Of course, we'll be back for a Fan Mail Friday tomorrow. Mike and I will be here together. On today's Quick Hits, we want to take a look at the circumstances that lead us to believe that Arte Moreno might be gearing up for another round of selling the team. We all know he didn't sell a year ago, much to our disappointment. So let's dive in and speculate wildly. First, let's revisit why Arte Moreno said he didn't sell last year and changed his mind. Sarah Valenzuela of the LA Times recounted Arte's interview with Tom Verducci of Sports Illustrated, saying, "I had one buyer come to Angel Stadium to close the deal," he said, then recounted the exchange with the buyer. "When you got right down to it, I didn't want to go." While opening up about his decision not to sell, Moreno said his previous decision to put the team up for sale was not because he fell out of love with baseball. Moreno declined to say why he decided to put the team up for sale, but Sports Illustrated reported sources close to Moreno indicated he was shaken by the intense negative discourse surrounding the franchise. Not the franchise. French fries? I'm hungry. The franchise. Negative discourse around this team was reportedly what some were saying Arte was afraid of and didn't feel comfortable with. He never outright said that. However, it seems to make sense, right? But here's the thing. As bad as it's been, isn't it worse now? Wouldn't this negative discourse that we're all seeing and all feeling across the internet and social media and every single post that the Angels make, wouldn't that make Arte want to sell again? I mean, look, the fact that he didn't retain Ohtani is a big issue. The fact that they were interested in Teoscar Hernandez and didn't even offer him a deal because they wanted 2 years and he was only taking 1. That's also a negative thing. I'm not a huge Teoscar fan, but to hear that the Angels didn't even make him an offer, not very great circumstances here. So again, it feels like if Arte was feeling the pressure a year ago because of the negative circumstances, what about the negative discourse that's happening right now? I think it's even more intense than it was a year ago. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they just let Ohtani walk. They didn't match the offer when they had the opportunity to do so. Now, if Arte wanted to see what happened with Ohtani on the team and collect that Ohtani revenue last year, well, that's all well and gone now. Ohtani's with the Dodgers. There's no Japanese media. There's no Japanese advertisements. None of that Ohtani money is coming in anymore. And he got all the revenue he could out of Ohtani. So what reason is there for Arte to stay at this point? Now, let's take a look at some of the contracts, not for the players, but specifically the front office. Now, back in January of 2023, there was an article from John Heyman of the New York Post, and he shared that team president John Carpino had 2 years left on his contract. That means he burned through one of those years in 2023. That means he has 1 year left on his current deal, which expires at the end of this year, 2024. So I speculated about this on Super Halo Bros on Twitter a couple of weeks ago. Is there a world where John Carpino convinced Arte Moreno not to sell so that they could finish their business in Anaheim and let everybody's contracts run out? And my question is this going to truly be John Carpino's last year with the team? I can't imagine it would be if Arte Moreno decides to stay. So is there a clean break in the works here? What about Perry Minasian? He has 1 year left on his contract as Angels general manager. Now, with many of the key decision makers in the organization having their contracts expire after this season, maybe that kind of puts a bow on this whole thing, right? This whole crap sandwich that we've been used to for the last 10 years. Does that put a bow on the front office and allow Arte Moreno to sell without leaving guys like his running buddy Carpino and perhaps Perry Minasian hanging? It kind of feels like it, right? I mean, if all of these contracts are kind of coming to a close at the end of this season, That's interesting to me. Now, you might ask, what about Ron Washington? He has a 2-year deal, and that's true. They hired Ron Washington to be the manager of this team on a 2-year deal, and perhaps it's a 2-year deal because a 1-year deal is disrespectful to somebody like Ron Washington. Perhaps a 1-year deal doesn't inspire any hope or faith in your manager. It certainly, as a fan, wouldn't give me any hope or faith in what the Angels are doing. So perhaps it's a 2-year deal because, friends, it's as close to a 1-year deal as you can get. And no harm, no foul if new management, new ownership all comes in and says, Ron, thank you for what you did in 2024. We're going to go a different direction. Then you're not on the hook for a lot of money. You're only on the hook for Ron Washington's 2nd year. So again, my speculation there is Ron Washington got 2 years because it's as close to a 1-year deal as you can get. Now, this is what I think a lot of us are feeling right now. How about this quiet off season that we've been having? Yeah, there's about 5 weeks to go before pitchers and catchers report. Yes, it's been a quiet off season for many of the teams out there, other than the Dodgers, who are just taking everybody. And then the Cardinals took a bunch of starting pitching very early on. But if the Angels continue on this path of not going for any long-term or big-time free agents, is that because they don't want to impact the future value that this team has? Maybe they don't want to add any financial obligations beyond this year, other than the ones they already have in guys like Trout and Rendon, and of course the young guys who are up for arbitration. So perhaps if this offseason continues the way that it's going, I understand it's been a slow market for everybody out there. And I understand that the Angels have made some minor moves, some literal minor moves and minor league moves. They've made some small signings with guys like Zach Plesac and things like that. So they've made marginal moves, but nothing that's going to move the needle, nothing that gets us excited as Angel fans. So I wonder if they're trying to stay away from any long-term financial implications. Finally, I think this is a big one. They've been through this process already. And yeah, the team might need to be evaluated again. They might need to go through the whole evaluation process again. And yeah, last year's financial reports will need to be included with the old financial records to be given to the potential buyers. But in my opinion, friends, the hard part is over. The research that potential buyers need, all of that information, it's still accessible and it's still readily available. So to me, I think they're in a much easier position to get this process moving and moving quickly. So again, they've been through this before. I know there's rumors that Arte might be quietly selling the team, but if you look at the circumstances and all the stuff that we just listed here, I think it points to, what I think Angel fans have been wanting for a very long time: new ownership, somebody who wants to win, somebody who wants to put a competitive team on the field, I should say. And we haven't had that. And to me, it seems like all indications are this regime is trying to wrap it up, and they're doing it very quietly. So again, is Arte Moreno quiet quitting? That's going to do it for this episode of Quick Hits. Whether you're watching or listening, be sure to head on over to the comment section on the YouTube video. Share your thoughts about the possibility of Arte Moreno quiet quitting. Mike and I are going to see you back here tomorrow for a full episode of Locked On Angels, where we will be doing a Fan Mail Friday. So we look forward to answering your questions, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.